and welcome to Business Line. German Chancellor Angela Merkel says her party had a hard day after the anti-immigrant party AfD made big gains in state elections, campaigning against letting more migrants in. Together with its European neighbours, Germany has reinstated some border controls because of the flow of refugees, but the AfD party and its supporters want a tougher response. In this edition, we analyse not what Germany could do about migrants, but rather what migrants could do for the European Union's largest economy. But first, will Angela Merkel change course after the vote?
Germany's political landscape is changing. Chancellor Angela Merkel is coming under pressure to change her policy on migration. Voters punished her party in 3 regional elections at the weekend by flocking to a new anti-immigration party. Even allowing for light and shade, she says, we can say that yesterday was a hard day for the CDU. Merkel's Christian Democrats lost support in all 3 states, the industrial area of Baden-Württemberg, the wine-growing region of Rhineland-Palatinate and the eastern state of Saxony-Anhalt. We want to reduce the number of arriving refugees considerably, she says. I'm convinced we need to start with the reasons for their flight. The anti-immigration alternative for Germany, AfD, took a quarter of the vote in Saxony-Anhalt, making it the second biggest party in the state. It also made strong gains in other states. Opposition is making politics, she says. We're herding the state governments before us. Talks are inevitable because the basis of the traditional parties, particularly the SPD and CDU, is rapidly eroding. Headlines in Monday's German press suggest Merkel's CDU and its junior coalition partner, the SPD, should see the results as a wake-up call at federal level.
Germany has weathered Europe's economic problems much better than most of its neighbours, and some say it could now benefit from the influx of migrants. According to the European Commission's ageing report drawn up in 2015, Germany's population is going to shrink from over 81 million in 2013 to nearly 71 million in 2060. Last year, around 43 million people living in Europe's largest economy had jobs. The unemployment rate has fallen every month, reaching 6.2% in February, according to the Federal Employment Agency. That's among the lowest rates in the European Union. Even before the migrant crisis, German businesses were desperate seeking to fill posts, particularly higher-skilled ones, and welcomed many foreigners. 1 in 7 workers is originally from another country, and 1 in 5 has a migrant background. More than 2/3 of the country's immigrant population are from another European country, and over 1/3 are from within the EU. That's according to Make It in Germany, an initiative of the Federal Ministry for Economic Affairs and Energy. Turkey is the main country of origin, followed by Poland. Throughout the recent migrant crisis, the Federal Employment Agency has been urging German businesses to hire more refugees. Together with the German Employers Association and the Federal Agency for Migration and Refugees, it produced a brochure called Using Potential, Employing Refugees. More than 500,000 training contracts were signed in Germany last year, but 37,000 apprenticeships were unfilled as there weren't enough applicants. Despite all that, public opinion remains split on whether to embrace migrants given the social, economic and cultural challenges. Over $80 million have been stolen from a US account of Bangladesh's central bank, and incredibly it happened a month ago. The blame game is now underway in the country, where the government accuses the central bank of incompetence and says the regulator didn't inform the authorities. Alongside the name-calling, they're trying to find and retrieve the missing millions.
Bangladesh's central bank governor has resigned over the theft by hackers of $81 million as investigators try to track where that money went. Cyber criminals broke into the central bank's computers and transferred the cash out of its account at the New York Federal Reserve. The bank's governor explained why he quit.
And I thought to protect the image of the bank, I resigned voluntarily to take a much higher moral ground. Not many examples are there in the country, to really take the responsibility morally and then resign.
The money trail leads to the Philippines, to a commercial bank where one man collected $30 million, 27 million euros in cash. The rest went to the same man's account at 2 casinos. A senior Bangladesh central bank official explained, "We are working with the Philippines anti-money laundering authorities on tracking the money. The media reports we've seen from there are that the commercial bank in the Philippines continued the process of transferring the money on without carrying out the proper checks." The theft has been seen as a wake-up call for central banks around the world to overhaul their security procedures. Cybercrime experts think that Bangladesh stands little chance of getting that money back.
A controversial tax deal in the UK is not Google's only worry these days. The European Union is investigating the company's competition practices. Russia has similar doubts, and Moscow's verdict has come way before Brussels' decision. But is that the end of the story? This is it. This is IT.
Round 2 in Google's ongoing fight with the Russian authorities went to the Federal Anti-Monopoly Service. In September, the competition regulator had ruled against the U.S. search engine giant. On Monday, the Moscow Arbitration Court has rejected the appeal. The case started after Russian rival Yandex accused Google of breaking antitrust laws by bundling apps with the Android operating system. If manufacturers want to put Google's App Store on their smartphones, they're allegedly forced to pre-install Maps, Gmail and Search 2 and to feature them in the main screen. Google's action, says the FAS, prevented other producers' apps from being pre-installed. The company may now have to rewrite its contracts to provide manufacturers with the choice of which apps they want installed out of the box. Not to mention paying a fine of up to 15% of the 2014 revenue from the preloaded apps. We'll see, as the company can appeal this latest ruling. The fight is being closely watched in Brussels. The European Commission is also probing whether Google abused its dominant position. In the last quarter of 2015, thanks to demand for affordable devices, Android's market share was over 80% of worldwide smartphone sales. That was it. That was IT.
That was it for now. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.